Welcome back. Pravin Gordhan says the public protector's subpoena is a result of a malicious complaint. The Public Enterprises Minister and Malusi Gigaba squared off at her offices in Pretoria. Gordhan's told ENCA he has better ways to spend his time. He had to explain why he approved former Deputy SARS Commissioner Ivan Pilley's early retirement. Gordhan was in Pretoria and spoke to the minister.
It took just over 2 hours for Pravin Gordhan to explain to the Public Protector why he approved the early retirement of the former SARS Deputy Commissioner Ivan Pilley. At the end of the questioning, Gordhan said he felt confident that he had proven to Malusi Gigaba that there was no wrongdoing on his part.
We very clearly demonstrated that as Minister of Finance, we operated and I operated in a very open and transparent way, and no decision was made without very careful consultation with lawyers and public administration experts. And as far as I'm concerned, the retirement was legal. The rehiring on a contract basis of Mr. Pilley was equally necessary and legal. And what we call the payment, which is actually an actuarial deficit, was something that the law required to be done. So all of that is consistent with the law.
Instead, he described the complaint against him as malicious. It was laid by a former speechwriter in President Jacob Zuma's office, Lebogang Loveko. It was then taken up by the Public Protector, which said that they had the right to investigate, even if it was only based on media reports.
No, I think that the complaint in the first instance was a malicious one, and but the law requires us to cooperate with the Public Protector, so we're here, we've given the answers, we've given the explanations. We can't take responsibility for how others want to interpret some of these things, but you know, with public institutions like SOEs being in the trouble that they are, I think our time can be better spent.
Gordhan arrived here with his spokesperson and legal team, and his appearance was foreshadowed by a lengthy exchange between himself and the Public Protector over whether he has a case to answer. The Public Protector has refused to comment on the contents of the meeting and hasn't made any statements since it's finished. Now it will be up to Malusi Gigaba to decide whether to elevate the preliminary investigation or drop the case altogether. Gordhan, Pretoria.
Malusi Gigaba finally bowed to intense pressure for him to step down as Home Affairs Minister. Gigaba handed his resignation letter to President Cyril Ramaphosa on Tuesday, saying the decision was in the best interest of the country. He says his decision to quit as Home Affairs Minister, however, is not an admission of guilt. Now, during his tenure, Gigaba made an impression from his political views to his personal life and also his sense of style. ENCA's Tana Patsa takes a look.
He's been referred to as the Minister of Style on social media. It cannot be denied that the former Home Affairs Minister knows how to look the part. If there was to be a portfolio for fashion and style, he'll definitely be the man for the job. Gigaba and his wife, Norma, often make headlines, but not always for the right reasons. Recently, he was subjected to public humiliation when a sex video went viral. Gigaba maintains the video was meant for his wife.
I have a right to be as romantic as I want with my wife. She's my wife. I paid lobola. I married her in broad daylight. I have a right to be as romantic as I want. When I travel with her, you complain. When I'm being romantic with her, you hack my phone, you try to humiliate us, and you still complain. What do you want us to do? To stop being husband and wife?
In the end, the decisions he made as minister cost him his job. Gigaba's come under fire for his dealings with the Guptas. But he's denied any wrongdoing and has defended the decision to give the family early naturalization. Ultimately, it was a contract with another wealthy family, the Oppenheimers, that led to his downfall. The Public Protector found that Gigaba violated the Executive Ethics Code and the Constitution when he lied under oath during the Fireblade aviation case. He'd claimed he'd never given permission for the company to operate a private terminal at OR Tambo International, but the courts disagreed. Despite his fall from grace, Gigaba will take consolation in the words of Kendrick Lamar, who he quoted when he was finance minister.
We're going to be right. We're going to be all right.
Tanapatsa, Johannesburg.
Analysts say Eskom's latest warning of possible load shedding could throw a spanner in the works of the country's investment drive. The power utility has announced some of its power stations are running low on coal supplies. Aviwe Mtila reports.
If we do not get enough coal, and if it's going to rain in Mpumalanga in particular, we will be in trouble. We are likely to have load shedding as a result.
This dark warning comes not in the cold of winter, but in the middle of a heat wave. 5 of Eskom's power stations have less than 10 days of coal left.
The trigger for this started in November last year when Tegeta, one of our suppliers, started having problems in 3 power stations that they were contracted for. And Eskom, as a result, had to take coal from the nearby power stations to the 3 that were supplied by Tegeta. And unfortunately for us, we were using a lot of coal.
Energy expert Ted Blom says the crisis in fact goes back to 2007 when the then CEO Brian Dames promised 40 new coal mines.
That was a little bit over the top. 20 would have been fine. But the reality is that Eskom to date has built 0 new coal mines. And that's why we're sitting with this massive predicament of a coal shortfall. In fact, it's not a coal shortfall. It's a non-existence of coal. We're heading for a total meltdown.
This latest power cut warning comes at a time when President Cyril Ramaphosa's investment campaign is at its peak. Commitments worth billions from investors have already been secured, and a reliable power supply is central to the economic growth. Economist Ian Cruikshanks says electricity can be a deal breaker for any investor.
There is a chance that it puts a stop on the whole procedure. And that would be a tragedy. We don't know exactly how much Mr. Ramaphosa has got so far, but we do know they're making progress.
South Africans should brace themselves for possible blackouts, as Eskom only promises to remedy the situations around March next year. In the meantime, the power utility has resorted to using costly diesel plants to make up the shortage. Aviwe Mtila, Johannesburg.
Still to come, national government is facing an uphill battle to restore good governance and sound financial management in municipalities. Details shortly.